A slam, the sound of my front gate shutting, and Patricia Henderson's face echoing up and down the perfect little streets of Beverly Oaks. She just stood there, finger trembling, cheeks turning lobster red, and screamed, "Open this gate right now." Oh, trust me, that moment. The day I made the HOA president totally lose her mind is the stuff of legend in this neighborhood. And if you're watching, you'll want to stick around because you're not going to believe how far this went. Or that every bit is true. By the way, where are you watching from? Seriously, drop it in the comments. I want to know who's here for this kind of chaos. But let me back up for a sec. This all kicked off on a stupidly sunny Tuesday in May, the day I moved into my $2 million dream house. Picture Beverly Oaks, every lawn trimmed with military precision Audis and Teslas parked just so everything about it screaming old money, though half my neighbors are tech bros and crypto millionaires now. I worked like a dog for this place, grinding in real estate for 15 years, after getting booted from my last apartment for not fitting community standards. Still stings honestly, but that pain I built my whole life on top of it. So there I was, stacking moving boxes, still in my work jeans when she appeared, Patricia. Didn't know her name then, but you couldn't miss the vibe blazer khakis, that HOA pin like she'd won the Nobel Peace Prize for neighborhood nagging hair that basically screamed, "I want to speak to your manager," and a tight, icy smile. She barely made it up my driveway before laying into me. "Excuse me," she started, sugary but sharp. "Your moving truck is in violation of Section 3.2 of our HOA bylaws." I looked at the truck, perfectly legal, not blocking a soul. "I'm sorry, what section?" I asked, genuinely lost. She whipped out a folder so fast you'd think she was about to serve me a subpoena. Section 3.2. No commercial vehicles on residential streets 8 to 6 unless you have written HOA approval. I checked my phone. 11:30 a.m. "Ma'am, I'm moving in." Surely there's an exception for that. Her smile stretched wider, her eyes colder. "You must be new. We follow the rules here. No exceptions. Move it or you'll be fined $500. I took a breath. She clearly loved playing sheriff. "I've checked the city code," I said, "and there's nothing illegal here. I'll be done in a few hours." Her eyelid twitched. "City ordinances." "We don't follow city ordinances. We have HOA rules. I am the HOA president. I decide who fits and who doesn't." Just then, Tom Harrison, my 70-something neighbor, peeked over the fence. "Here we go again." "Another victim." Patricia glared at him. "Tom, this is HOA business." He shrugged and vanished, but not before giving me that look, part warning, part sympathy. Patricia whipped out her phone. "I'm calling the HOA enforcement team. 10 minutes or you're fined." That smug certainty that she could bully me. Well, that set off every survival instinct I'd developed in this business. But I kept cool. "I'll review the situation with my lawyer," I said. That got a brittle laugh. "A lawyer? You think you need a lawyer? I run this neighborhood. You're not making a good first impression. Either follow my rules or find out how miserable I can make you." She spun and stormed away, already calling someone. "Sarah, prepare violation notices for 42 Oak Street, multiple infractions." At this point, I noticed neighbors coming out, all pretending to water the lawn or get the mail, but really just rubbernecking the drama. Someone across the street gave me a sneaky thumbs up. Yeah, Patricia had a reputation. Tom reappeared later, leaning on the fence. "You just made a powerful enemy. Last guy in your house lasted 6 months. She finds violations where none exist, makes up rules, and basically runs people off." I grinned. "I've dealt with bullies. I'm not going anywhere." Tom just shook his head. "You've got more spine than most. Watch out, though. Patricia's not above playing dirty." As if on cue, I heard a printer working overtime from Patricia's house. The next morning, I woke up to find 5 blazing orange violation slips plastered on my door. One for grass being 3.01 inches high, the limit's 3.0, apparently another for the door color eggshell, not ivory cream, another for not displaying an American flag, which isn't even a rule, and two more so absurd I just had to laugh. I took photos of each one, then went to the print shop and had a giant banner made, grass height 249 in, verified by Lasermeath. Thank you for your concern. Hung it right on my garage. Neighbors lost it. People came out to snap photos. Patricia drove by, saw it nearly blew a gasket, but didn't stop. That night I started digging. Tom was right. 5 families had been driven out by Patricia in the last 2 years. I got stories from everyone, fake fines, bogus violations, intimidation. But the twist, Sarah Martinez, the HOA secretary, found me at the local coffee shop. "I saw what you did with the banner," she whispered. "That took guts. Most folks just pay up. Not you, though." She slid a USB drive across the table. 3 years of evidence. Patricia's stealing from the HOA, faking fines, harassing residents. I was going to quit, but you inspired me. It's time someone stopped her. That night, I prepped for war. Next day, Patricia called an emergency HOA meeting about the threat to community standards posed by me, the new resident. The room was packed. Word about the banner had traveled. Patricia launched into a speech about property values, harmony, and rules. Then she proposed raising the first-time fine to $1,000 and putting liens on homes for 3 violations. Even her lapdogs looked shocked. I raised my hand. "I'd like to address the board." Patricia gave me a fake friendly smile. "Of course. Tell us why you're above the rules." I hooked up my laptop, projected the evidence. Sarah gave me receipts for luxury dinners on the HOA card payments to her brother's company, altered meeting minutes. The room exploded. Board members shouting, residents demanding answers. Patricia beat red, screamed, "Fake news, deep state tactics." The elderly board member, who'd seemed half asleep, spoke up. "Patricia, I think you need to explain this now." She completely lost it, threatening to destroy me, claiming I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. She stormed out, shouting, "This isn't over." 3 hours later, I heard sirens. Patricia had called the cops, screaming that I'd assaulted her with a gate. She came pounding on my front door at 10 p.m., mascara running, hair wild, shouting, "Open this door! We need to talk, neighbor to neighbor." I hit record on my phone, opened the main door, but kept the security gate locked. She gripped the bars, yelling about how I'd destroyed her life, 5 years of work. When she tried to reach through and grab me, I warned her, trespassing, attempted assault, last warning. She tried climbing over. I hit the button, the gate closed. She barely jumped back in time. Then she exploded, screaming, "Assault, attempted murder." She called 911. Neighbors came out, Tom shaking his head. Someone yelled "World Star," and Patricia just kept performing. When the police arrived, Officer Rodriguez asked for my side. I showed him the video. He watched it twice, then turned to Patricia. "Ma'am, closing your own gate isn't assault. You were the aggressor, and this is your 4th false emergency call this year." Someone in the crowd started a slow clap as Rodriguez gave Patricia a formal warning. "Any more harassment, you'll be arrested." Patricia was led away, screaming about conspiracies and corruption. The next morning, I woke up to my driveway covered in rotten eggs and dead fish. Security footage caught Patricia in a black hoodie with 3 teens at 2 a.m., spreading it all around. I posted the footage online, and within hours, parents came over mortified. The kids ratted her out. She'd paid them $300 each. Police were called, crime scene photos taken, and Patricia was suddenly facing actual criminal charges. She tried to fight back by hiring some hack lawyer and sued me for defamation and malicious interference with community leadership. Tom, my neighbor, offered to represent me. Pro bono said he wanted a front row seat. The hearing was a circus. The judge cut right to the chase. "Do you have any evidence?" Patricia's lawyer fumbled. Tom produced the security footage, 3 teens' sworn statements, and a crime report. The case was dismissed with prejudice, and Patricia was ordered to pay $7,500 for the vandalism. But karma had just started. I got an email about a foreclosure auction at Patricia's house. She'd ignored every notice, too busy waging war on me to notice her own finances falling apart. I did my research, registered for the auction, and when the virtual gavel fell, I was the new owner of 1847 Rosewood Drive. That's right, I became Patricia Henderson's landlord. June 1st. I showed up at her door in my best suit, official papers in hand. "Miss Henderson, I'm your new landlord." You should have seen her face. She nearly collapsed. She screamed, threatened lawsuits, said I was part of a conspiracy. I calmly handed her the notice, $24,000 owed in back rent, 30 days to pay inspection next week. I walked away to the applause of neighbors. But I wasn't out for revenge for the sake of it. When Patricia's world finally fell apart, evicted from HOA, losing every job application, cars sold to pay restitution, her apology tour began. She had to knock on every door she'd wronged, return every bogus fine plus interest, post a 7-page confession on the HOA website, and do 200 hours of community service, pulling weeds, mowing lawns, helping elderly neighbors. Even took a job as a cashier at Walmart, and honestly, she was good at it. One day, months later, she knocked at my door, not angry this time, just broken. "Please," she said, "I have nowhere to go. I know I deserve this. Don't make me homeless." For a second, I wanted to slam the door. But my grandma always said power is about knowing when to help, not just hurt. So I offered her the garage apartment behind my house, strict rules, restitution service, 1 year minimum. She agreed to every term, no argument. The next 90 days, Patricia rebuilt piece by piece. Apologies, restitution, the community service. Slowly, people saw her change. I even caught her smiling, really smiling, helping Mrs. Jane plant roses. Eventually, her daughter came back. They hugged in the little garden, shared Thanksgiving dinner in that tiny apartment. And here's the last twist. While sorting through old files, I realized Patricia had been the manager who'd evicted me a decade earlier. She'd started my journey, and I'd ended hers. That's life. Sometimes the villain becomes the cautionary tale, and sometimes the best revenge is simply living better. So, did you see any of this coming? Would you show mercy or just serve cold justice? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share your own HOA horror stories or tales of redemption. And hey, if you liked this wild ride, hit subscribe, because word is there's another HOA tyrant 3 neighborhoods over fining people for the color of their doorbells. Might be time for another lesson in humility. Until then, treat your neighbors well. You never know when one of them might end up your landlord. Peace out and stay humble.